Guys, it has finally happened. The Average Money podcast has come to fruition. I am known amongst my friends as being the fun forcer, and I finally got my good buddy JJ Buckner to sit down with me. We're going
Yes,
to
sir.
talk money for you and with you every single week. This week, we're going to talk about just the basics, why financial literacy is so important, the goals and sacrifices that we had to make to get there, a little bit of our backstory and our origin story for those that don't know who we are, and things that you can expect every single week from us. My name is Brad Finn, and I am joined with the one and only JJ Buckner. JJ, how are you, buddy?
Dude, I'm excited, man. This is a new venture. This is something to have another creative outlet on. I can't wait to see what happens. I'm so excited for the guests that we already have lined up on this podcast. Some big names, it's going to be fun, dude. I'm excited to really just relax, talk about something that I know you and I and also the guests we'll have on here are both very passionate about. But also it's going to be nice to just have this like cool, relaxed, calm conversation. We're going to crack open some brewskis.
Oh, we're drinking?
You know,
We're drinking?
I'm drinking.
Oh,
Are you drinking?
I'll have a beer.
Let's crack one open, dude. Crack open a cold one. Let's relax. Guys, if you're listening, crack open a cold one with us.
Unless you're driving.
What
do you drink? What are you drinking?
Tonight, I'm drinking a good old-fashioned Bud Light. Dude, what about you?
I got a Dubco beer from right here, and it has my face on it because they
got a mullet?
Yeah. I said a minute ago, amongst my friends, I am known as Fun Forcer. So they, for those watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see it. Yep, they put my face right there on the label, and let's go.
Dude, the glasses are slick too, by the way.
We were gonna try and like get them for the real picture, but those things are expensive. Cheers, buddy. Welcome to this.
Cheers, and cheers whoever's drinking with us too. Let's get this thing kicked off.
Yeah, I think it's awesome to think, and this really just stemmed from our regular conversations, and me and you talk often about money, and we're kind of an outlet for each other when our wives don't want to hear about money anymore. And so many people were saying to me like, man, I wish I could be a fly on the wall of that conversation. Or my wife saying, somebody needs to hear you guys talking about that. I was like, all right, let's record and see what happens.
And here's the crazy part too about this, Brad, is like you and I have actually never even met in real life. Like how crazy is that we live in a day of age where we can build such, like, I mean, honestly, I feel like we've built such a good, tight relationship because one, I like to surround myself with people who have the same interest as I do and goals and aspirations in life. You know, there's a saying out there, I can't remember off the top of my head, but like the people who surround you is going to be like your net worth
your network is your net worth.
There you go. That's why I like you guys. But no, man, for real, dude. Like I'm so excited to start this new venture, see where it goes. But it's just insane that we haven't even met, but we've built a pretty solid relationship just because, and friendship of having the same interest and goals and aspirations, in life.
It's a wonderful thing. And I mean, you among others, it's crazy how we've created like this little bubble. And I said, I've been trying to get you to do this for a while, and this is going to be coming out. We're recording this before it actually comes out, but you had a pretty big week this week, and I think it's worth starting at least from the beginning, and then starting from the end and then going back to the beginning, because this was able to happen because you just freed up a little bit of time in your life. You are under 30 years old, and you just quit your day job.
Dude, it's honestly so this is my first week of no longer having a boss, no longer having a 9 to 5. I am my own boss. I'm in charge of bringing in that paycheck. And it still feels surreal to me. Like waking up this morning, I went to the gym, came back, and my son woke up out of bed early, and he saw me sitting at the kitchen table eating breakfast. So I was getting ready to go upstairs to work on some YouTube stuff. And he peeked his head out the window or out the door, and I saw him. I was like, Mason, what are you doing, man? He was not supposed to be up as early as he was. And I was like, well, Dad's already up. I don't have to get to work real quick, because usually I'd have to say, dude, yeah, go back to bed.
Right.
Mom and Millie are still asleep. I was able to have him come out of his room. We were able to play. I made him breakfast, and I got to just say, okay, well, my morning routine got switched up a little bit, but that's okay because I have the whole rest of the day to choose what I need to do. It's amazing, man. It's literally the best feeling besides my kids being boring.
Your kid. Well,
Besides,
sorry, Mace.
oh, gee, sorry guys. No,
Sorry about it, Mason. Mason. You are not boring, buddy. You are not boring.
besides my kids being boring and my wife walking down the aisle, honestly, the best moment of my life was being able to quit my job and go full time at my true passion, and that's creating content and helping people become better financially.
Now, on that road, like that, I can't fathom it too because I'm a little bit older than you as well. But I think as far as the timelines of like what we had going on in our lives, like I think we started our financial journey past a little bit different. Yours is kind of like college. Like you've always told me in our conversations that you've always been a pretty good saver. You've always
Mhm.
lived a somewhat frugal lifestyle, but you know, when did you realize how important like financial literacy was, or even if you didn't know it was financial literacy, like when did you realize that you needed to start being good with money?
So you did say that I was always kind of that natural saver, which is true. I remember even being like in high school, 14, 15 years old, I'd get paid in cash for doing a side job or mowing somebody's lawn or whatever. And I was that guy who would like have the $20 bill and like make sure it's all straightened out and put it in my envelope and set it in my closet and save it till I was going to buy my big purchase of like my car when I turned 16 or whatever it may be. But honestly, like the real journey to like understanding personal finance, investing, and what to do with your money started whenever I graduated from college.
Right.
Now, looking on the outside in, guys, I think what people would think like the dream life, or, it would have looked like, I don't want to say that. I'm not trying to sound conceited, but I followed the typical rules of society. I graduated high school. I went to a prestigious, local, but prestigious engineering school. I graduated with got a good job at a prestigious engineering firm and an international engineering firm. And like I said, looking on the outside in, it would have looked like I made it.
Hmm.
I had the dream job. I was getting married, working that 9 to 5, whatever. It was good. But I'm not lying to you. The first week of work, I literally I couldn't. I knew that was not for me. I was looking at the management above me who were 20, 30 years ahead of. That's where that's kind of the role I was going to take on if I would have stuck with this company. And I'm like, there's no way I could do that. If I would have stuck around there and followed that path, I would have been just it would have crushed me.
Right.
Looking at them, looking how they looked and the lifestyle they had was not how I wanted to live out my life. And honestly, that is what kind of led me to looking into how to pay off my student loans. Now that I had this big boy check, what was I going to do with this money?
Right.
What were those next steps to do? Because I wanted to make sure, me being that natural saver, that I was doing everything I could to take full advantage of the amount of money that I was making. That kind of led me into finding Dave Ramsey, which led me down the rabbit hole of, personal finance and investing. And then I found out about the FIRE movement, which all of this we'll be talking about on future podcasts.
Right.
But still, like, that's kind of where all of this passion and fire stems from, is graduating, getting that 9 to 5 job, working in the cubicle, and realizing I cannot do this the rest of my life. There's just no way.
I mean, I have a similar story that like that, but the one question I keep asking myself, and my buddies ask me as well, I feel like a lot of people go through that. A lot of people are sitting down and they're like, "This is not for me." And my buddies flat out ask me, like, "Brad, what made you different than me?" Like,
Right.
I hate my job, and I just hate it. You hated your job, and you were just drawn to the internet, found Dave Ramsey, change your lifestyle completely, because I wasn't a saver by any means. I was a spender. And I always considered to be like, I always had the mindset of, I make so much money, I can never run out. And
Mm,
the fact of the matter was, here on Long Island, what I was doing, I had a side business, I had a house, I had kids, I had wife, I had brand new cars. Like, I was bringing in close to $175,000 a year by myself. And then with my wife's income, I was like, there's no way I could be running out of money. And I didn't know about lifestyle creep, and I didn't know about things like that. And I think it sounds like it's easier said than done to say, I hate my job. I'm going to go and do that. And like, what do you think was like, how did your YouTube channel, for example, like what made you sit down and record a video?
My wife.
Really?
Plain simple.
My wife didn't know about my channel for like 6 months. She's like, wait, you're on
YouTube? That's awesome. No, man, like I was just having that burning passion and desire to not only learn and absorb as much information as I could, because I literally had it was killing me inside to have to go to that job every single day. So I was like, I am literally going to learn as much as I can and do whatever I can with this money I have at my disposal to go into investments or whatever. So with that, I had new goals every single night.
Really?
Every single night laying in bed with my wife, I'm saying, okay, babe, this is our next big thing. Next week, we're going to move the savings here. We're going to take the savings and we're going to pay this off. After that's paid off, we're going to turn around. We're going to do this with our money. And after a few months of doing that, she's like, babe, I love you, but you have got to find an outlet. I cannot take this anymore. So while all that was going on, I was a watcher. I was a viewer of YouTube at that time.
Right.
So I saw like a few other financial YouTubers who are now like just legends.
Big shots.
But at the time, yes, but at the time they were relatively small. I mean, honestly, they're kind of where I'm at now.
Mm-hmm.
So that is kind of really what took me to hop on YouTube, is just to have that creative outlet to be able to express my opinions, my views, and kind of also my thoughts, and to share my journey, because I knew there was other individuals out there like me after being on the internet and, reading the Reddit posts and listening to the podcast and seeing all these average individuals
Yeah.
who were really kicking ass with money. And to be honest, Brad, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that kind of what stemmed this whole name of our YouTube, or of our podcast, I mean, Average Money?
People need to know that naming a podcast is so hard. And dude, we went on YouTube, we went on Instagram, and then it just came down to like, maybe I think we were trying too hard. We were trying to make ourselves something we weren't. And I think we were sitting like, how do we make a name for a bunch of just average dudes that want to talk about money and tell their average story? And we're like, hold on. Yeah, no, I think it's the engineer in us, because I engineering background as well. And I almost treated it as like a game, a puzzle, a motor that needed to be built, and how can I take what I have? What are the parts and the pieces that I have that are going to make this run? And my wife is same exact. We have very similar stories when it comes to our wives, because my wife, she's a math person. She knows numbers, but she also knows that like I'll figure it out. And she was the one that was whispering in my ear all the time, Brad, we're running out of money, man. Lifestyle creep. And I'm like, come on, get out of my face with that. And it wasn't until we really ran out that I had to start listening to her. But then when I went full bore, same thing with she was like, you need a friend. You need to talk to somebody about this, because I'm sitting down and I'm like, you wouldn't believe what the 7 baby steps are. Let me tell you the difference between the debt snowball and the debt avalanche, and we can do this.
Right.
And she was like, can I retire yet? And I'm like, no. She's like, are we paying off debt and are we succeeding with money? I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay, just, you can sit down and fill me in when we're not winning with money again. And obviously over the last 3 years, my YouTube channel's coming up on 3 years, is, she's learned a lot, but it doesn't fire her up like it does for me.